back to CryptosRUs. I am George. Well, watch out, because according to UBS, Bitcoin could go to zero, straight to zero, just like Netscape and just like MySpace. So in this video, I want to talk about what was said by UBS, one of the biggest wealth managers and banks from Switzerland, and actually go over exactly line by line, maybe not line by line, but paragraph by paragraph in terms of what this analyst said and what he actually means, and also what he has said before. And so we could do a good comparison of what has changed within the last just few months. All right, and also I want to talk about Bitcoin. It's looking a little bit better today than yesterday, but overall things are going in the right direction. So I do want to also talk about and look at Bitcoin. So thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel if you are new so you don't miss out on any of my streams. I normally have them at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on weekdays, but weekends at nighttime, anything goes. So make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter and Facebook. All right, let's get started. Let me share my screen here. So this is the article that caught my attention. UBS compares crypto, specifically it's actually Bitcoin, not crypto, to MySpace. It says prices could go to zero. Zero, not even go down, go absolutely to zero. And to quote, there's little, in our view, to stop a cryptocurrency price from going to zero when a better designed version is launched or if regulatory changes stifle sentiment. Netscape and MySpace are examples of network applications that enjoyed widespread popularity but eventually disappeared. This is the Chief Investment Officer for Global Emerging Markets, Michael Bollinger. I guess he makes, if you just take a look at this quote, it kind of makes sense, right? But this is taken out of context from a much larger article that I want to share with you guys and actually go over that, because he's actually not as bearish as this sounds, although his sentiment has changed quite a bit. He talks about sentiment, right? His own sentiment has changed from a very, very bearish view to a neutral view, right? So even himself, he is warming up to Bitcoin. So it's not nearly as bad as it sounds, although if you make the comparison to MySpace and Netscape, I guess it is, right? All right, so this is an article posted on UBS, their own site, Market News. I don't even know why this is Market News. This is an opinion, right? This is not Market News. Market News is if Bitcoin goes to 40,000, that's Market News. Should you buy Bitcoin? That's not Market News. That should be in the blogs section or the opinion section. So I don't know why UBS does this. But anyways, he's a CIO. I guess he could do whatever he wants. So UBS, one of the biggest wealth managers and investment banks from Switzerland. And this latest article posted 2 days ago, should I buy Bitcoin? The gist of it is clients are asking him if they should buy Bitcoin and crypto to diversify, because obviously people are going to ask when Bitcoin doubles within a month, people are going to ask, should I get in Bitcoin, right? When traditionally banks like UBS would say no, 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 no. So the things change, right? The things change. Well, before I get to this article, which is the one that I want to spend the most time on, I want to take a look at the previous article that was written by the same person, Michael Bollinger. And this was written just a few months ago, September 10th. Bitcoin is sibling safe haven alternative. And I like on the top where it says the article is expired. Please note that the article is outdated. So just within a few months, this person's perspective and what was written is already outdated. But I want to talk about this before I get to the other one, so it kind of shows you the sentiment, right? Our analysis suggests the following observations. Number one, for Bitcoin, not suitable for standard risk profiles. Okay, investors' risk tolerance must be high to tolerate potential large losses. Trading-oriented investors might find appeal in such price swings, but our analysis shows that getting the timing wrong can result in destruction of capital. Well, again, that's taken out of context. So if you're looking at, yes, like if you buy at the absolute top and then you sell it at the absolute bottom, yes, that could be a destruction of capital, right? So I recognize that. But time and time again have shown that if you simply hold Bitcoin and you hold it, you're going to make money. I think that timeline has now expanded down to where if you held Bitcoin for more than 2 years, it's guaranteed that you're making money, right? Because Bitcoin just keeps going up and up and up with a 4-year cycle. Every time there's a downtrend, it goes up. So that's not 100% true. If you take it out of context, then of course it sounds like, oh, it's too risky, but that's the thing with investments. Anything could have a catastrophic fall, right? Banks, and big companies like Enron, right? What's that? Bear Stearns. Things have a risk, right? But with Bitcoin, it's actually the least riskiest because it's the one that if you hold, you actually just keep making money from. So number 2, survivor basis. Choosing the right current cryptocurrency is the utmost importance. While Bitcoin has done fantastically well over a long-term horizon, other cryptocurrencies have fared a lot worse. In our view, investors often focus on the performance of the winners without taking into account the performance of the losers. Differentiating winners and losers require good understanding of demand and supply. Well, he already answered it. He already answered his own question, right? Which one do you choose? Well, you choose the one that has done the best over the long term. And which one is that? Is Bitcoin. So he already answered it. So I don't know why he's talking about how the altcoins, have not done so well, and which one should you choose? Well, the obvious answer is choose Bitcoin, right? That's it. There's no question about that. The lack of dividend coupon payments. Why are we talking about coupon payment? Maybe that's something else that he's referring to. But lack of dividend, who cares? Who cares? The stocks that give dividend, they're the ones that don't move at all. And their 1, 2, 3, 4% dividend means nothing when you compare to movers, right? Because that 1, 2, 3, 4% is actually lower than inflation. So you're actually losing your money buying power by holding on stocks that actually pay a dividend. You don't want to. Just go buy tech or buy Bitcoin-related or crypto-related companies, and you're going to see tenfold within a year. That's better than that 2% that you're going to make from your dividend holdings, right? So again, I don't like that. Number 4, limited diversification benefits. Our Bitcoin backtest improves the returns of a portfolio given its high absolute returns and low correlation to other assets. More recently, however, correlations have increased and returns declined, suggesting Bitcoin may be less suitable as a portfolio diversifier. Again, he's looking at a very short term, right? He could pick and choose times where, Bitcoin may be following with, say, the broader market, and that's because there's like a major catastrophic event, right? Like in March, everything sold off. People still talk about that. March of 2020, when Bitcoin took a dive, right? Guess what? Stocks, Dow, S&P took a dive, gold took a dive, everything took a dive, right? There are times where there's going to be correlations. But I think 2020 proved that Bitcoin is non-correlating because while the S&P 500, I think, gained overall 5 to 10%, Bitcoin gained like 400%, right? So it is starting to deviate from the broader market. So ultimately, what is the conclusion of Michael, right? If Bitcoin is not the right move, what is the conclusion? Well, the conclusion is for investors looking for a defensive tilt to their asset allocation, we recommend gold. Okay, no surprise, right? What else can you say? What else can you say when you're telling people not to buy stocks, not to buy bonds, right? Or treasury bills or whatever? What else can there be? Gold, right? And this is what everyone has been saying over the long haul because gold is easy. You could say gold, just buy gold. Traditionally, always buy gold. You can't go wrong with gold, right? The problem is gold has not gone up for 12 years. It was at 1800 in 2008, right? And now it's at 1800 in 2020. So 2021, in fact. So for 12 years, 13 years, it has stayed the same. Over a decade. So what does that mean? Well, that means the buying power and the hedging aspect of gold has basically disappeared. Wall Street and the true miners of gold, they've been manipulating it so much that gold prices does not move. This thing about Peter Schiff saying let's go to $5,000, he's been saying for 10 years, and he laughs at Bitcoiners saying, oh, Bitcoin's will go to 100,000. He laughs at Bitcoiners that's been saying that for the last few years. What about the fact that he says gold's going to go to $5,000 for the last 12 years, and it's still nowhere close? He doesn't point to himself. But, okay, so that was number one, Michael, right? This is back in September. Did the fundamentals of Bitcoin really change since September till now? No, it didn't change. It's always been the same. It's been the same for the last 10 years, although the narrative did change a little bit because of institution adoption. But outside of that, everything else is the same. So Michael, you could see, was not really paying attention or just being naive, or because he has the interest to get his clients to buy gold. So he has to write articles like this, right? So now, coming to today's article, should I buy Bitcoin? So this one, actually, compared to the last one, is a lot more bullish. Although he's not bullish, but it's more bullish than the last one. So he does say early on here, early successes does not guarantee future success, such as Netscape and MySpace, right? Out of the two, to be fair, MySpace was driven out by Facebook due to lack of innovation. But Netscape, on the other hand, is different. Netscape was driven out because of Microsoft. Microsoft alone, with their hundreds of billions of dollars that they put into Internet Explorer. And back then, Netscape just did not have the budget to do so. Netscape was fine. I remember the AOL days. They had Netscape, and outside AOL days, Netscape was dominating until Microsoft said, no, we're going to put everything. We're going to put IE as a default browser in Windows, and we're going to put all this marketing and everything towards it. That's how Netscape died. So to be fair, you had a much bigger player driving out, right? There's no bigger player right now trying to drive out Bitcoin. That just doesn't exist. And it won't happen. But anyways, so out of the two examples, right? But to continue forward, he lists all the good stuff about Bitcoin. For example, according to NASDAQ.com, Guggenheim Funds filed an amendment with the U.S. Securities and Exchange, the SEC, to allow one's funds to gain exposure to Bitcoin by investing up to 10% of the fund's net asset value. That's a lot. 500 million, so 10%, 50 million. Well, I guess it isn't a lot compared to MicroStrategy, but still 50 million, decent amount from one of the biggest investment companies out there, right? Wall Street Journal also reported that Mass Mutual Insurance bought $100 million. Not only that, they bought a 10% stake in investment, crypto investment firm also. And in 2020, Paul Tudor Jones, a successful hedge fund manager, said one of his funds may invest a low single-digit % of his asset. In fact, it went up. Paul Tudor Jones did say that he has been increasing his holdings, right? So as you can see, these are all recognitions for Bitcoin. These are good things, very good things. Also, he continues on to say, we see evidence that retail investors have become more active again. More people are searching for information on cryptocurrencies on the internet. I could tell my videos are blooming, right? Other people's videos are blooming. And you could do a Google search trend and see that searches for Bitcoin is much, much higher now. Not just for Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP even. It's a lot higher, but still not as high as before, right? Publicly available data from blockchain.com, the world's leading Bitcoin wallet provider, shows 10 million new wallets created in the past 3 months, right? As many as were created in the prior year. So the last 3 months, there was 10 million new wallets, 10 million, and that is equal to the same amount from the previous year, right? So new people are definitely coming in. Now, he does say something that I don't think he quite understands, so I'm going to clarify. He does say that while still underdeveloped, the open interest in Bitcoin futures has also increased more than threefold in October. That's good. With 95% of the coins held by 2.5% of the addresses, the potential for price squeezes should be evident. So he said a lot of good things, and then he tried to hide in a negative thing. But let me clarify that is not true. 95% of the coins are not held by just 2.5% of the addresses, right? And the reason being, if you go to the Bitcoin rich list, you can see already, just if you look at the top ones that's listed here, right? So here's a wallet with 141 Bitcoins. Chris says, I put 24K in Bitcoin, made 12K. I pulled my investment out, right? And now you're just you're playing with house's money. That's pretty good, Chris. Congratulations. Thoughts on Tether? No thoughts. I don't like it. I'd much rather choose a different stable coin or just cash in general. But congratulations, you're doing it right. But take a look at this first one and first entry. I know it's a little bit small on your screen, but first entry is a Huobi cold wallet. So this one address that holds 141,000 Bitcoins, this is a cold wallet by Huobi from its clients, right? It's not Huobi's their own. It's not one entity, one person that owns it. And most of these addresses are the same. They're just not labeled, but you could see number 4 is labeled Bitfinex cold wallet. Number 5 is Binance cold wallet. You go down the list. Here's another wallet. Here's a Bittrex cold wallet, CoinCheck cold wallet, and there's a lot to go on. Kraken, right? Binance. So many of the top wallet addresses are owned by exchange, and they're simply holding their crypto from their clients, right? So this actually spread out many ways, right? So number one, that's not true. And also, if you just look at this and you look at the total coins, if you're looking at 95%, that would be basically anywhere from 1 to a million Bitcoins. That would make up 95%. If you look at a number of addresses, it's about a million. So a million addresses about out of 30 million, right? That's way more than 2.5%. So even if you're looking at it that way, it's still higher. So I think he's a little confused on this 95% being held by 2.5% addresses. And let's not forget the newcomers in this space, like Grayscale has 500,000 Bitcoins. But again, they're holding it for their clients. MicroStrategy, they bought a lot. I mean, so that's not really true. But moving forward, cryptocurrencies has also been in news due to growing mainstream adoption. For instance, some payment service providers start providing digital currencies. PayPal, all right? PayPal is a huge one. In 2021, the company plans to expand its Venmo and select international markets too. And also, PayPal has been granted a conditional bit license by New York State Department of Financial Services, right? Look at that. That's huge. PayPal, Venmo, and all these things, right? They're all embracing Bitcoin and crypto. So these are massive factors. I mean, he's giving it all out there, right? He's giving it all out there saying, yeah, Bitcoin has made huge strides in 2020. So it sounds like it's a reason to buy Bitcoin, right? It's definitely up and coming. So to conclude, so why can't you buy Bitcoin and cryptocurrency to help diversify portfolios, right? This is the main thing, but even if you read this, it's actually pretty good. Remember when I showed you this article, he was talking about how it was too correlated, right? Now he's saying, no, it's not. So this low correlation, if maintained, can indeed help to diversify a financial portfolio. However, a low correlation to other asset classes is not sufficient reason alone to add Bitcoin to a portfolio. Investors need to look at a risk-adjusted return to determine whether they are sufficiently compensated for taking a risk. That's a mouthful. So he admits that there is a low correlation now, and it has to be maintained. Basically, that's what he's saying, right? The historical evidence on this is mixed. Had you held Bitcoin during a period of sharp rising prices, the overall risk reward of the portfolio would have indeed have increased. But during periods of less extreme increases and of course stagnant and declining prices, that has been the case. Well, everything goes through up and downs, right? But like I said, over the long haul, if you're holding Bitcoin for over 2 years at least, at a minimum, you're making money, right? And most people that have bought, during lows, even 2020's lows, you're making money hands over fists right now. So the question of whether to add Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to a portfolio can only be answered in our view here. And this is the most confusing thing you'll ever hear. If we have the outcome, let me say that again. So the question of whether to add Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to a portfolio can only be answered in our view, if we have outcome the challenge of deriving a credible estimate for its future fair value, as discussed in question 4, at that point, we find it hard to have a high conviction in such a number. I don't know what he's saying there. I don't know what he's saying there. He doesn't answer yes or no. Should you buy Bitcoin to diversify? There's no answer there. So that's why I want to share with you guys, because yes, a lot of mainstream media, especially crypto ones, are basically just saying this is a complete FUD, right? That UBS is trying to say that Bitcoin and crypto is going to zero. But if you read into it, I mean, you could see that Michael, actually his sentiment is more neutral than bearish now. His article from September was actually very, very bearish. Very bearish, but a lot of things have changed. In this article, I actually lists out all the main drivers for why Bitcoin is going up. And he doesn't answer yes or no because, of course, UBS is trying to still get people to buy gold. So he can't say yes. But any intelligent investor that reads this would say, yeah, I should buy some Bitcoin, even though Michael gives you a very, very confusing answer at the end. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. So UBS, they're starting to turn around. Just yesterday, I created a video about Goldman Sachs. They're about to go all in with custody service. And, you know, after custody service, it's going to be trading services and a whole lot more, right? JP Morgan, of course, is following suit with custody service, but they already have their own crypto and they're diving in, they're investing. And every bank out there, the ones that don't want to self-implode and just disappear like the dinosaurs, they have to adapt. And that's what banks are doing. They're adapting, they're trying to adapt because they realize that Bitcoin and crypto basically makes anyone become a bank themselves. You could literally store as much money as you want inside a USB key or inside a hardware wallet or on your phone. And you could carry that around anywhere without anyone knowing and without anyone stopping you from receiving or spending your own money, right? That is powerful. That is taking away from the banks. It's taking their power away. Think about how difficult it is right now to receive or send large amounts of money without being questioned every other way. And banks will do ridiculous things. Like people tell me that certain banks like JP Morgan will call their clients and say, hey, you can't be buying on Coinbase anymore. You're buying too much crypto on Coinbase and we need you to stop it. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. And that happens every single day, right? So the banks are scared. They have no choice but to adapt at this point. Otherwise, they're going to be dead soon. They're going to be dead. All right, so that's what I want to talk about and lead with. Now, looking at a overall crypto market cap, very, very nice today. Over $1 trillion again. Yesterday when I did my stream, it was a little bit below. Today, we're seeing the same altcoins and a few others pump up even more. And BTC dominance has slid down to 66%. Quite a lot. So Polkadot is resuming its pump now. It's flipped above XRP. And pretty soon, Cardano and Chainlink and some of these other guys are going to flip with XRP. Remember, I said XRP is going to be out of the top 10. Not because they fall, it's because others are going to just surpass them. That is happening in front of our eyes. You know, I would not be surprised if this pump continues by tomorrow that Cardano will be at number 5 and XRP will be at number 6. This is a very major change of events because XRP has been number 2 or 3 for a very, very, very long time. But Polkadot is having a tremendous pump today. Cardano is joining the party with another big up 13%, right? Chainlink was having a big pump yesterday, but still up a little bit. But you see, going down the list, there's a lot of movers today. Uniswap, 18%. Aave up 20%. Right? Cosmos, Synthetic, VeChain, you get the picture. A lot of altcoins are doing very good today. And Bitcoin isn't doing too bad either. It's definitely doing better than last night. Last night I streamed like right around here, right? It's somewhere around there. And I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, well, things are getting a little bit lower. So today we may see Bitcoin test, again, 34.5 before bouncing off going higher. or going down to complete that double top pattern. Well, it seems like the bulls said no, we're not going to do that. So you could see a pretty sharp turn just right away going back up. Right now, it's showing a little bit more weakness, but I think the reason why Bitcoin stalled at 37,000 today is because all that money is going to altcoins. And I've noticed a pattern recently. I noticed a pattern when altcoins tend to shoot up like this, right? And BTC dominance drops a lot. The next step is Bitcoin is going to pump. So it's very, very likely that tomorrow Bitcoin will pump back up to $40,000. I'm noticing that trend now, and even Ethereum is pumping today. And I think it's because the whales, they're trying to drive up as many bags as they can to accumulate as much money, and then they go dive into Bitcoin. So I do have a feeling that tomorrow, Sunday, we're going to have a very, very, very positive day for Bitcoin. So, and also if you look at the charts, those of you guys that look at the charts, things like the day, daily indicators, the 4-hour indicators, they're quite low. There's definitely room to run if needed, and tomorrow could be that day. All right, so I'll turn it back to you guys. Let's do a little Q&A, and then we'll go from there. Sundays kind of mixed. Weekends kind of mixed. For the most part, weekends have become good now, right? They become good, and normally Mondays have become bad. But the last week, I think the weekend was bad, but then the week picked up, right? So it kind of flips here and there. But overall, right now there's definitely a lot more buyers than sellers, right? And weekends traditionally have lower volume, so it makes sense that during weekends things pump up, right? And I guess a good thing about not pumping up on a Saturday or a Friday night is that stupid futures gap thing, that phenomenon that still sometimes happen, you get rid of that, right? So if you don't have a huge pump on the Saturday, then I guess it eliminates that. It eliminates another gap. So that's another thing. It's always a good time to stack sats. I mean, that's the case. I just got done, 2 streams, basically yesterday morning, yesterday night. I'm like, you know what? There's not that much cheap Bitcoins left, right? You take opportunities to buy the dips if you can and sprout your buys, and that's the way to do it, right? So yesterday, obviously, we had a little bit more weakness down to 34.5, right? That was a great time to buy. And just a few days ago, there was times where Bitcoin went below to 30,000 before it bounced. Great time to buy, right? These are opportunities that, have been happening a little bit more recently, but still, on a grand scheme of things, over the last few months, there's been not that many times where we have seen that, right? It's been pretty upwards. So, for me, I would not mind seeing Bitcoin just hold here. 40, 30,000, maybe not 30,000, 40, 35, go up here a little bit, hold a little bit like these previous times, and then go up, right? That would be great. That would be great if that happened. Just let Bitcoin cool off a little bit, went up a little bit too fast, let it cool off a little bit, and then go on, right? And it also helps altcoins like right now. Claudio, Aave going to top 5. I don't see that, no. I don't see that. The top 5 is reserved for protocols, like things that help others build upon dApps, specifically. So I don't think Aave's gonna go that high. Although I did receive a comment recently. Someone tweeted me that I recommended ETHLend like way back in 2017. And they picked them up. ETHLend then kind of dipped quite a bit, and then they rebranded themselves to Aave, and they're like so hot. So I can't even do the conversion. But if you do the conversion, if you held from its ICO days, that's a lot of money gained. Michael. Wow. 2 super chats. Thank you. I think whales should choose to buy on the weekends because retail customers can't react fast enough. They can't wire funds to your exchange. I don't know. Maybe. That is true for some people, but like Coinbase and Gemini, they allow you to do instant like purchases, right? Where you do a withdrawal, deposit, you don't have to wait the 2 to 3 days. They'll give you like basically a short-term loan until the payment settles. So I guess, yeah, kind of, but not everyone offers that. So I get your point, but I don't know. I don't know if that's really the case. London Chinese cabbie. Thank you for that. BTC for long-term ADA to make huge gains in the next year or so. I can't dispute that. Cardano has been doing very well. A lot of people think that in February and in March, when Guggen, I think, is done, that big things will come for Cardano. Right now, it's kind of like a race, right? It's Ethereum, Polkadot, and Cardano. They're kind of all racing right now. And guess what? These are all these are all somehow related to Ethereum too, because Polkadot and Cardano, of course, founded by people that started Ethereum. But these three are definitely the leaders of the pack, although Cardano's not even done yet. There's a lot of faith put into Cardano, but we'll see. Polkadot is done, and they have a really good setup right now with their parachains. And they also have another, like a cousin, Kusama, which is much cheaper, but it's not that cheap because they're close to $1 billion already. But it's very, very similar to Polkadot. It's a unique structure. It's kind of like a test bed. But yeah, you have others in the space that's also competing, but definitely Polkadot and Cardano and Ethereum, these three are the ones to watch if you're looking for protocols right now. I'm still waiting for VeChain to go up. It's still stagnant, I think, until China opens up and goes all in, but you know what? We'll have to wait. Speak on Mt. Gox, would it cause a huge crash? I don't think so. The amount of Bitcoins being given out is not nearly as much as before, as in terms of like when it was hacked and you had a lot more disappear, right? And plus, there's no reason why that people that get their Bitcoin will actually all sell off. Unfortunately, the process is like the people that lost their funds, they're only getting equivalent of the USD value, not the BTC value. So that's a big difference. Because a lot of people early on Mt. Gox, they had thousands of Bitcoins, tens of thousands of Bitcoins, like it's nothing because back then it wasn't really worth anything. Now, if they got 1,000 Bitcoins, they would be a freaking 100 millionaire, right? But it's different this time around. They're giving a US dollar equivalent. So if they had, let's say, $10,000 before, they're only getting 0.3 Bitcoins rather than their 100 Bitcoins. It's a big difference. Big difference. So I'm not too worried about it. I can't 100% be sure. Maybe once they do start giving that out, maybe there is going to be more sell pressure. But right now, I'm not really worried. How I view it is, if Bitcoin goes down, it's going to be a gift. If there's any significant downs, it's a gift. Because we know where Bitcoin's going. And it's going to the moon, and it's going a lot higher, right? I have no doubt Bitcoin will hit 100,000 in the near future. So any kind of downturns like this, you got to see it as a gift. Your last chance to grab some cheap Bitcoins before it's just too much to accumulate. That's simply it. Frank, appreciate that super chat. Fried Cash, what do you think about the whales are thinking long term? Well, they're trying. I don't think anything changed with the whales. They're still going to do their games as much as possible to make as much as they can, but I think their grip on Bitcoin is getting less and less and less because institutions are buying so much. So what they can do is play the altcoins more. I think that's the reason why a lot of altcoins are shooting up. For this kind of movement, I hate to say it's not retail investors driving up Polkadot 30% in a day or 86%, 85% in a week. It's not retail investors FOMO in. That's not causing that. Whales are causing that and causing FOMO, right? So they know how to play the games. So they're losing a grip on Bitcoin. So what they're going to do is more of it with altcoins, I think. So I think in the future we're going to see a little more volatility with altcoins. But that could be a good thing because a lot of these pumps, after they're done, a lot of these big caps, they just stay at the level and that's it. And then they keep going higher and higher. They don't really come down, right? I got off the loop ring wagon for a while now. I mean, they're still doing okay. They were concentrating on DEXs, and now they're concentrating on DEXs and DeFi. You know, their protocol. So I don't know. I'm not too excited about loop ring. Let's just put it that way. The surest way to get banned from the channel is by spamming like that. One will ETH and BTC follow different charts. They seem to run identical. That's an answer that that's a question I answered in last night's stream. So you should take a look at that. I don't think for a while. Everything follows BTC. Everything follows BTC. So there will be short stints where they don't. Short stints where altcoins can outperform BTC. But overall, man, you just got to look at it. BTC's dominance, 67%, 70%. You know, the whole market is driven by BTC. So that's not going to change anytime soon. Tech Boy, appreciate that. 2 super chats. Wait, is that 1 or 2? How can Bitcoin sustain a 6-figure valuation if by that time I'm assuming there will be more sellers than buyers when it gets there? Why would you assume there's going to be more sellers than buyers? That's the thing. Don't make that assumption. Don't think that Bitcoin going to 6 figures and possibly 7 figures is driven by retail. It's going to be driven by institutions, and that's not going to stop. These big money, there's no reason why they would sell it. Just because it hits $100,000 doesn't mean that they're going to sell it. They're actually buying it not because they think it's going to go to 100,000. They're buying it as a hedge against inflation, which is only going to get worse. So there's no reason to think that there will be more sellers than buyers. There's huge money coming into this space. There's already huge money coming into this space, right? And it's only going to increase. I think the number, I don't have the statistic with me, but I've read the number of addresses that hold 1,000 Bitcoins have been going up through the roof. So these are, you know, they're not the biggest institutions out there, but these are big companies, institutions that have a ton of money that can afford to buy at least 1,000 Bitcoins. And those addresses keep going up and up and up. So the amount of money flowing in is enormous. What's happening here is basically the whale activity that's being done on the open exchanges. Most of these guys are buying an OTC market, and they do it by not causing the price to go up. You know, MicroStrategy himself, Michael Saylor, said, for him to buy that much Bitcoins and not have the price go up, he had Coinbase spread out the buys like 10,000 ways, micro buys. And he did it in a way where it didn't make Bitcoin's price go up. And all these big guys are doing the same thing. So they're secretly taking up the Bitcoins behind the scenes. And us retail investors, we're chasing the charts looking at this. And in the meantime, they're grabbing all the Bitcoins. The number of Bitcoins floating on the open exchange is very small, anywhere from 10 to 12%. This kind of activity is normally driven by whales. But what's happening behind the scenes is all the Bitcoins is being bought by the institutions. They're all going there. And guess what happens when the OTC market dries up? Then Bitcoin flows out of the exchanges into the OTC market, right? So whenever we do see big pumps, I do believe that's what's happening, right? PayPal and others, they're also restocking too. But you don't want to be fooled by this. Going behind the scenes, there's so much buying. Billions upon billions upon billions of Bitcoin is being bought every single day, and you don't want to fool. You want to get fooled. You don't want to get fooled. You want to follow the smart money. All right, guys, I'll let you guys go. Keep this a little bit shorter than usual. So hopefully you guys enjoy this. UBS compares Bitcoin and crypto to MySpace and what's the other one? Netscape, and says that things could go to zero. I know this seems at first glance like a FUD article, but not really. He makes some good points if you actually read through it, and you'll see that his sentiment actually changed a lot more neutral than before when he was actually very, very bearish and trying to sell everyone to buy gold. And I think now he realizes he can't really do that anymore because he looks foolish. But still, I think overall, I think he brings some good points. Hopefully I added to it and you guys enjoyed that. And Bitcoin is also doing well and altcoins are doing well. So today is shaping up to be a pretty good day. And tomorrow could be shaping up to be even a better day. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. As always, smash the like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and stay tuned for my future videos. And make sure you check out my Facebook and Twitter. Follow those two. And if you want to support me and get some exclusive content, join Patreon. And if you want a crash course on Bitcoin, then check out my Teachable page. All right, guys, take care. Until next time, bye-bye.